All right, Mr. Manzo Ezekiel, thank you so much for joining this hangout. Can you please quickly introduce yourself and tell me what exactly you do for NEMA?
Yeah, my name is Manzo Ezekiel. I'm a press officer of the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA.
Okay. Okay, great. Thank you so much. Now, on the program channels being in the coming week, we're going to be looking at the situation of the IDPs, which is largely a result of the activities of Boko Haram in northern Nigeria. First off, let me ask, well, tell me about the efforts NEMA has been making, for these IDPs. What efforts has NEMA put in place to cater for them?
First of all, I want to say that the IDPs have found themselves in the situation that they are today, not by choice, but as a result of particularly disasters. And the disaster I'm referring here is the insecurity, the insurgency that has resulted in their being stuck from their communities. And these are people that are traumatized. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Go ahead.
Okay. First, I said, let me repeat myself. I said, first of all, the IDPs, can you hear me? I don't hear you anymore, but it's all the same. Let
Yes,
me,
go ahead because I want you to talk. I don't want to interrupt. So I just want you to go
it's
ahead.
all right. Yeah, no problem. You can, yeah. So I'm trying to say here that the IDPs, the situation the IDPs have found themselves today is not anything that they choose to be. But these are people that have been sacked from their communities as a result of attack, several attacks on their communities by the insurgents, resulting in their displacement. And as you are aware, this situation did not begin today. It began gradually, and it began gradually up to the point that from one community to two communities to three communities, and several communities are affected. So that is why we are having so many IDPs, and mostly in Adamawa, Borno, and Yobe. And from the beginning of the crisis, NEMA have been giving them some relief assistance up to the point that we discovered that these people, we can no longer give them the support in their communities because even in their communities, it's no longer safe for them to stay. And that is why most of them have run to the various state capitals. And at the various state capitals, the state government provided accommodation, provided facilities where they are staying. And in Adamawa State, the state government from the beginning made it clear that they do not have the resources to cater for these people. So the National Emergency Management Agency from the start, from the escalation of the crisis, has been in total control of the camps that are in Adamawa State with the
Okay.
state
All
government.
right. Before you go on, Mr. Manzo, can I ask what is the number at this time? How many people are internally displaced at this time? Can you give me a figure?
Yes, we are having about 1.5, 1.4 million IDPs in Nigeria today.
Okay, so
1.4.
yesterday I spoke to two females. These are ladies who are based in Lagos, and they
Yes.
have pet projects. They just heard about the IDP situation, and what they did was they tried to get people to put donations together, and both of them have traveled to some of the IDPs. One lady who is called Modupe traveled to Adamawa from Lagos. The other
Yeah.
lady has also been to Maiduguri.
Yes.
And when I spoke with them yesterday, they did not seem pleased with the situation of the IDPs. Let me quickly tell you some of the things they told me. First, they said that there were many unregistered IDPs, that as much as there were registered IDPs, that they discovered that there were many unregistered ones that were even, they weren't even in the main town. Like the lady who traveled to Adamawa said she had traveled 45 minutes out of town into a bushy area and she found a settlement where people were using sticks and palm frond to create accommodation for themselves. So both of them said they discovered that there were many unregistered IDPs, which means that whatever efforts the government was making for IDPs was probably not reaching those people because they were unaccounted for. So by extension, they are saying that the number is even higher than the 1.4, 1.5 that you have said. Then another thing they said was via their interaction with the IDPs that they discovered that they weren't getting enough. That a lot of them weren't getting regular meals, that the shelter was overcrowded, and that they had issues of flooding and so many other things. But by and large, they weren't so pleased with efforts of NEMA. How do you react to this?
Okay, now you have raised some very important issues here. First, I want to tell you that we are having different kinds of camps. We have the open camps for people that are staying with their relations, people that maybe because of choice or because they have their relations that have offered them some kind of support, accommodation where they are staying. We call that one open camp. Then we have official camp. The official camp is a settlement, a location where government presence can be found can be found 247. Then we have the unofficial camp. The unofficial camps is a situation where some people on their own have chosen to stay. They have chosen to stay, which may be different from that of the official camp. So if you are having a situation of official camp, what we would ask is that if you have found a camp somewhere that you feel government is not aware of, the best thing for you to do is to bring it to our attention, because we cannot be attending to people at the official camp and at the same time be combing through all the villages and the towns and the bushes for where the IDPs camp. Because for people that are affected by situations like this, they have their friends, they have their relations, that they should ask questions. Please, where is government giving support so that they can come and join the people that are staying collectively in the official camp? Secondly, you mentioned the issue of insufficiency in terms of support that has been given to the IDPs that are in the official camp. Of course, the best support an IDP will require from government and anywhere in the world is for them to be resettled back to their homes in safety. So there is no amount of support that you give to IDPs that can be enough. But what we are saying is that, if you go to these camps, the basic things that an individual requires for life is shelter and food and clothing. And those are the things we are providing today. If you go to this camp, we also have health facilities that cater for their minor crises, and we also have arrangement where health situations that overwhelm the camp clinics are referred to government clinics in the town, government hospitals in the town. So you cannot expect the situation in the camp to be as good as situation in their various homes. Because, okay, I ask you a question. How do you imagine somebody that is a family man, for instance, when he returns home, he asks his wife, the wife knows her responsibility, she prepares meals for him. And now they are in a camp where that privilege, that opportunity is no longer there. So there's nothing you do that can make that person to be happy. But of course, we are responding by providing the basic support that they need for survival, so that as securities are being restored to their communities, rehabilitation process will commence.
All right, thank you, Mr. Manzo. Another issue that was raised, which has been in the news for a couple of days or perhaps weeks, is allegations of corruption by officials. There have been reports and allegations that some of the resources and relief materials are being channeled into other means. People are asking the victim support fund that was set up by the past administration, how is it being put to use? Some of the issues the ladies also raised was that there were no checks. They felt that the task at hand for NEMA and as well as SEMA at the different state emergency agencies was too huge to go unchecked, so to speak. They felt that there needed to be a check on NEMA's activities to see how well NEMA is doing and how well what their plans are. So I want you to also react to these issues of allegations that funds or probably relief materials were being channeled into other means, and that perhaps NEMA needed to be checked to see that they were doing the work effectively.
Okay, I begin by telling you that NEMA is a public organization that is open to anybody at any time. You are aware of the Freedom of Information Act that is in existence. So whatever we do in NEMA, we do it in the public, and there's nothing that we do that is in the hidden. You mentioned something about Victim Support Fund. Victim Support Fund is not NEMA, it's not under NEMA. It's a fund that was set up by the former administration and comprising both public and private sector. As a matter of fact, the chairman of the Victim Support Fund is not even a government official. So I'm not competent to speak on Victim Support Fund. I'm not also competent to speak on the Presidential Initiative for the Northeast. But you are talking about allegations that resources meant for the IDPs are being channeled wrongly or maybe mismanaged. Now, I want to explain something here. The fact that NEMA is intervening in these camps does not mean that NEMA is working with the IDPs alone. NEMA, don't forget, is a coordination agency. We work together with other stakeholders. All the locations where we are providing support to the IDPs, we do them together with the various state government through their state emergency management agencies. For instance, when I mentioned earlier that the camps in Adamawa State, that NEMA is more or less in control of the camps, the facilities where the IDPs are staying do not belong to NEMA. NEMA didn't build the camps. That is one. Secondly, NEMA worked together with the Adamawa State government, for instance, the Red Cross, and even the security agencies. So I don't see where NEMA would divert anything without being checked. I don't see where anybody at all would divert any material that is meant for IDPs, and the other organizations, the other agencies, the other partners, stakeholders working together will not raise alarm. You see, the problem we have is that we have so many people that just sit from very far and begin to imagine certain things, that this is going wrong, this is not right. Again, if you go to the camp and you want to know the real situation of what is happening in the camp, you don't just go and call somebody by the side and ask him what is it that's happening to the camp. You also need to ask the camp officials, why is this thing happening? If there's any misinformation, this can be cleared, this can be clearly explained. So I want to state categorically here that NEMA do not divert any material. In Borno State, for instance, before now, the Borno State government was more or less taking care of the camps. But some few weeks ago, the Borno State government pleaded with the federal government that their earlier position that the camp should be left for them, they stood down on the position and now say that they want greater involvement of the federal government. And by this, the facilities that the IDPs are staying in, they allow greater access of NEMA into these various facilities, to the extent that NEMA now has officers that are stationed in these camps. But again, because of accountability, because of checks and balances that you mentioned, the materials that are given to the IDPs in Borno State, for instance, like the food stuff and the rest, are taken first to the Borno State IDP Emergency Management Agency warehouses, so that they are also put in a picture of what we are doing. And in these various camps, we have committees that are set up in the management of this camp. We have things like the sanitation committee, we have the food committee, we have the cooking committees, and the cooking committees are not, all the various committees have membership drawn from both NEMA, the SEMA, the Red Cross, and the IDPs themselves.
Okay, Mr. Manzo, on a final note, another issue that the ladies raised was that there was an internally displaced policy of some sort. There had been a paper that had been put together which is like a framework for such situations. And these ladies were very concerned on the strategy and the plan that was in place to ensure that these people were fully rehabilitated and restored to their communities. So, can you tell us what the big plan is? Because we cannot continue to just house these people on camps and just feed them. What is the plan to ensure that these people are fully reinstated to the original positions?
Okay, before I answer that question, I want to say here that all the people that go to the camp or that sit from far and hear side talks and make all this kind of baseless accusations, when they hear this kind of accusation, it's not the best thing for them to just go to the media, social media, and be saying it. NEMA office is a public office. We are situated in Abuja here, and we have offices in various locations. If there's anything you have seen that you're not satisfied with, we're all working together for the good of the nation. If you are very sure that you're working for the good of the IDPs, nothing stops you from approaching us officially and presenting to us the evidence of what you feel is not okay, because we are ready to support these people. We have been supporting these people for a very long time. Now, secondly, I want to say that the displacement that we are having in Nigeria today is not something that was envisaged. This is something that the fact that I say that it's not something that we envisage does not mean that the resources that government is slagging and responding to it. Now, you are talking about people that have been displaced from their homes. Some of them for more than 1 year are not in their village. The rehabilitation plan will only come when their communities are declared safe enough for them to go back. But government, of course, you are aware of the Victim Support Fund. When that fund was launched, the former president, of course, government is a continuity, told the world clearly that the money being raised from this fund will be used for the rehabilitation of these people back to their various communities. Before now, like some few months ago, some of the communities were occupied by the insurgents. But thank God, the insurgents have been driven out from most of these communities. But what is happening now is that some of them are still hanging around. So what government, as soon as security is fully restored, as soon as the communities where these people have been displaced are declared safe enough for them to return, then the process of rehabilitation will return. Then secondly, there is this profiling that is being carried out about on the IDPs. As soon as it is safe enough, government have resources that have been set aside for the rehabilitation of these people. And I assure you that as soon as these places are safe enough, the process of rehabilitation for these people will be very quick and fast. Because you are aware that even Mr. President is not sleeping over this. One of the first assignments that he has carried upon himself upon resumption in office was to visit the neighboring countries. And you are aware that even his visit to the United States is still on how to curb terrorism, how to stop the insurgency in the Northeast. So the process of rehabilitating these people back to their communities begins with the restoration of security in their communities. Once the security is fully restored, the return of these people will only be a matter of a short while. I just returned from Maiduguri 2 days ago. I went to Maiduguri on Monday. I came back on Wednesday, and we have been going on like this. Apart from the NEMA staff that are working in those various camps, from time to time, there is a committee from Abuja that visit them to assess what is happening. We don't sit in Abuja here and work on reports alone. We go down there and see the reality of what is happening. And from what we saw 2 days ago in the camp is satisfactory. I must confirm to you. Yes.
All right, thank you very much, Ms. Amanzo. It's been a pleasure speaking with you, and you addressing some of the concerns that Nigerians have raised. I do hope that NEMA would intensify efforts, as you get help, and I also do hope that all Nigerians would join NEMA and join the federal government as well as the state government in in ensuring that these people are well taken care of and that the best comes to the nation. Thank you so much.
Thank you. You're welcome. God bless you, Maiwa.
All right.